A man in old jeans and a faded hoodie quietly stepped into one of Los Angeles' most exclusive luxury car showrooms. The air was thick with the scent of leather and money. Sales staff smirked. The manager blocked his path and sneered, "You don't belong here. Leave." But what this man did next left everyone frozen, in complete shock. The bright lights of the luxury car showroom in Los Angeles sparkled like diamonds. Rows of the world's most expensive supercars gleamed under the lights. Lamborghini, Ferraris, and Rolls-Royces that cost more than most people's houses. Rich customers in designer clothes laughed and chatted, while eager salespeople hovered around them, offering test drives and champagne. The air smelled of fresh leather and pure money. This was a place where only the elite belonged. Then the glass door opened. A man walked in alone. No driver. No bodyguard. No fancy watch. He wore simple old jeans, a faded black hoodie, and worn-out shoes. His hair was messy. He looked like he had just stepped off the street. He moved quietly between the shining cars, stopping to admire a sleek black Lamborghini. His face stayed calm. He didn't say much. He just looked. At first, the salespeople noticed him. Then they started whispering. "Look at that guy," one said with a smirk. "He must be lost." Another laughed softly. "Who let him in? He can't even afford the floor he's standing on." They didn't approach him. They didn't offer help. Instead, they watched him like he was a joke. Their eyes judged every inch of his simple clothes. The man didn't seem to care. He kept walking slowly, gently touching the hood of a Rolls-Royce Phantom. His expression was peaceful, almost respectful, but the whispers grew louder. Soon the sales manager noticed. He was a tall man in an expensive suit, used to dealing with millionaires. When he saw the stranger, his face twisted with annoyance. He marched straight over. "Excuse me," he said sharply. "This isn't a public museum. These cars are for serious buyers only." The man in the hoodie turned and looked at him politely. "I'm just looking," he said in a soft, calm voice. The manager laughed coldly. "Looking? You? I don't think so. People like you don't belong here. You're wasting our time." Tension filled the air. Other customers started watching. The whispers turned into quiet laughs. Phones came out. Someone was already recording. The man stayed completely still. No anger. No raised voice. Just calm eyes. "I understand," he replied gently. "I won't cause any trouble." But the manager wasn't finished. His face turned red. "You need to leave. Right now, or I'll call security and have you thrown out." The entire showroom went quiet. Everyone waited to see what would happen next. Would the man argue? Would he shout? Would he beg? Instead, he simply nodded. "I understand," he said again. His voice never changed. He turned and walked toward the exit. His steps were slow and steady. As he reached the door, he paused for a second. For a brief moment, a memory seemed to flash across his face. Years ago, when he was a young, struggling actor eating noodles in a tiny apartment, dreaming of better days. No fame, no money, just hope. Then he pushed the door open and stepped out into the busy street. The manager crossed his arms, satisfied. "Good riddance," he muttered. The salespeople laughed. The rich customers shook their heads. But none of them knew the truth. None of them realized that this quiet man in the faded hoodie was about to turn their entire world upside down. And what he would do next would leave every single person in that showroom frozen in total shock. The glass door closed behind him with a soft click. The man in the faded hoodie was gone. Inside the showroom, the manager let out a loud laugh. "See? That's what happens when trash walks in thinking they can play rich." The salespeople joined in, clapping and high-fiving. The rich customers smiled, amused by the little drama they had just witnessed. But something felt off. The air in the luxurious showroom suddenly felt heavier. A strange silence crept in. One young salesperson, a woman named Sarah, stared at the door with a worried look. She had seen the man's calm eyes. There was something familiar about him, but she couldn't place it. Minutes passed. 5, 10, 15. The manager straightened his tie, feeling proud of himself. "That's how you protect a high-end business," he bragged. "We only serve real clients here." Then the glass door opened again. The same man walked back in, still wearing the old jeans and faded hoodie, still alone, But this time, his steps were slower, more deliberate. In his hand, he held nothing but a simple phone. Every head turned. The manager's smile froze. "You've got to be kidding me," he muttered. "I thought I made myself clear." Before he could finish, the man raised his hand politely. He spoke in the same soft, calm voice. "I'd like to speak to the owner of this dealership." The manager laughed again, but this time it sounded nervous. "The owner? Listen, pal, you need to leave before I call the police." The man didn't move. He simply pressed a button on his phone and put it on speaker. A voice came through loud and clear, the actual owner of the entire luxury car chain. "Yes, Mr. Reeves?" the owner said respectfully. The entire showroom went deathly silent. "Mr. Reeves?" The name hit like a thunderbolt. "Keanu Reeves." The manager's face turned pale white. His mouth opened, but no words came out. The salespeople froze in place. One woman dropped her clipboard. Phones that were recording earlier now shook in trembling hands. Keanu spoke calmly into the phone. "I'm at your Los Angeles location. I came in quietly to see how customers are treated. I wasn't happy with what I experienced." The owner's voice changed instantly. "Sir, I'm so sorry. Whatever happened, we will fix it right now." Keanu continued, his voice steady. "I've been in the process of purchasing this entire dealership group for the last 3 weeks. The papers are almost signed. After today, I think I'll speed that up." Gasps filled the room. Buying the entire dealership? The shock was visible on every face. The manager's knees looked weak. He grabbed the edge of a desk to steady himself. His expensive suit suddenly looked too tight. Sweat rolled down his forehead. Keanu put the phone away and looked directly at the manager. His eyes were kind but firm. "I didn't come here to show off," Keanu said quietly. "I came because I remember what it felt like to be ignored and judged. I've slept in my car. I've been broke. I've worn the same clothes for days. None of that changes who a person is." He paused. The silence was deafening. Then he added the final blow. "And today, I saw how my future staff treats people who don't look rich. That ends now." Panic exploded. The manager dropped to his knees. "Mr. Reeves? I had no idea. Please, I have a family. I was just doing my job." His voice cracked. Tears welled up in his eyes. Other salespeople started apologizing rapidly. "We're so sorry. We didn't know. Please forgive us." Their voices overlapped in pure fear and regret. Faces that had been laughing just minutes ago were now pale with horror. The rich customers who had watched the earlier scene now looked embarrassed. But Keanu didn't raise his voice. He didn't shout. He simply stood there, calm as ever. He turned to the young salesperson, Sarah, the only one who had looked worried earlier. "You seem kind," he said gently. "I noticed. You'll be running the showroom starting next week." Sarah covered her mouth, tears streaming down her face. Keanu looked back at the manager. "As for you, you still have a job. But you'll be cleaning cars for the next 6 months and taking a kindness training course. Treat every person who walks through that door with respect, no matter their clothes, their car, or their appearance." The manager nodded rapidly, still on his knees. "Yes, sir. Thank you, sir." Keanu nodded once, then looked around the stunned showroom. "I'm not buying these cars to feel powerful," he said softly. "I'm buying this place to make sure no one else ever feels the way I felt today." He turned toward the door, then paused. "By the way," he added with a small smile, "I'll take that black Lamborghini, and 3 more for some friends who need them." The shock in the room was complete. No one moved. No one spoke. They had judged a quiet man in old clothes, and that man had just changed their lives forever. The entire showroom stood frozen. Hearts pounded. No one dared to breathe. Everyone waited to see what Keanu Reeves would do next. Would he destroy the rude manager's career? Would he walk away and leave them all in shame? The silence was heavy. The tension felt unbearable. Keanu looked around slowly at the pale faces. His voice stayed calm and low. "I'm not here to ruin lives," he said quietly, "but I am here to change this place." The manager, still on his knees, looked up with desperate eyes. Tears ran down his face. "Please, Mr. Reeves, I have kids. I made a terrible mistake." Keanu paused. The room waited in painful suspense. What would his final decision be? "You're demoted," Keanu said firmly. "Starting tomorrow, you'll be washing cars and cleaning floors for the next 6 months. You will also attend a full kindness training program every week." The manager's shoulders dropped in relief, but shame burned on his face. "However," Keanu continued, "if you truly learn to treat every person with respect, no matter how they look, you can earn your old job back. This is your second chance. Don't waste it." A wave of shocked whispers spread through the staff. Some couldn't believe the kindness. Others felt nervous about their own futures. Keanu then turned to Sarah, the young salesperson who had looked worried earlier. She stood trembling in the corner. "Sarah," he said gently, "you showed real kindness today. While others laughed, you stayed silent and concerned. That matters." Sarah's eyes filled with tears. "I'm promoting you to manager of this showroom, effective immediately. You will also receive a significant raise. Lead with heart. That's the new standard here." Sarah covered her mouth. Happy sobs escaped as the staff clapped softly, some with genuine smiles, others still in disbelief. But Keanu wasn't finished. He looked at the whole team. "From today, new rules apply. Every customer who walks through those doors will be treated with respect. No judgment based on clothes, shoes, or appearance. If I hear even one complaint about rudeness, there will be serious consequences." The weight of his words hung in the air. Everyone nodded quickly. Then came the moment that truly shocked them all. Keanu smiled softly. "I'm also buying 5 brand new cars from this dealership today, but they won't be for me." Curious eyes widened. What was he planning? "These cars will go to families in need, single mothers, struggling students, and people who have lost everything. I want this dealership to become known not just for luxury, but for kindness." Gasps of surprise filled the room. Some staff members wiped tears from their eyes. The rich customers who had laughed earlier now stood silent, moved by what they were witnessing. Keanu stepped closer to the group. His voice became even quieter, but every word carried power. "I've been judged many times in my life. When I was young and broke, people looked at me the same way you looked at me today. But I learned something important. You should never judge a person by their clothes. Judge them by their heart. That's what truly matters." The words landed deeply. Several salespeople lowered their heads in regret. Others looked inspired, as if something inside them had changed forever. One older salesman stepped forward. "Mr. Reeves, thank you. I've worked here 15 years, and I've never seen anything like this. You could have destroyed us, but you chose to teach us instead." Keanu nodded humbly. "We all make mistakes. The important thing is what we do after those mistakes." As he turned to leave, the entire staff lined up. They applauded, not out of fear, but out of genuine respect and admiration. Even the manager, still kneeling, clapped with tears in his eyes. Outside, word of the story had already begun to spread. Customers who had been recording started sharing the videos. Within hours, the news would explode across the internet. Keanu Reeves didn't just buy a dealership that day. He bought a chance for people to become better. And in that quiet, powerful moment, everyone in the showroom understood one undeniable truth. True strength isn't about money or fame. It's about how you treat others when you have every right to be angry. The man in the faded hoodie had once again shown the world what real character looks like. But the biggest shock wasn't the cars or the promotions. It was the powerful truth Keanu left behind. He didn't need to prove he was rich. He proved that kindness and humility are the real power. Never judge a person by their appearance. What would you have done in that moment?